objects measure at least.
I'm Colonel G.T. Weber from Army Intelligence. Pack your bags. You're at the top of everyone's list when it comes to translations. Priority 1. What do they want? Where are they from? You'll be reporting to me, but you'll be working with him when you're in the show.
That's what they call him, the UFO.
Oh, there we go. Talking about when them aliens going to attack. I for one, can't wait when they attack, man.
We need something.
We need something to unify this planet. I'm waiting for the aliens to come down. And I'm really going to be a house nigga when they come down. Shine your spaceship for you, son. That's a nice shine, eh?
Play a little fiddle.
Yeah. I think in his language he said he's attacking. But you know what? We're talking about The Arrival. I'm sorry, no. I'm The Arrival. See, I keep making that mistake. The Arrival is a completely different movie.
Right.
The Arrival is one with that black kid with them flexible joints.
The backwards legs.
It's not gonna be easy. Not anymore.
That's how black people were running last night. They found that Trump one.
That's when Charlie Sheen started doing coke.
Yeah.
You saw that shit.
Fuck.
Tiger blood. All right.
That black kid just formed gazelle legs? What the fuck? Jesus.
Can't get it out of my
That tiger blood's a motherfucker, man. But we're talking about Arrival. Take the E off, the D off of it. Arrival. And that is the movie that's directed by a director that I'm actually really into these days right here.
Denis Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve. Anyway, he makes good movies, I think. Now, Martin will argue with me on that. And
I think he makes good movies.
Well, we'll talk about that in a little bit because I know you don't think that completely about him. And I don't know how you feel about this one.
Man, we gotta rehash this old fight.
Oh yeah, I would never. That's some shit I'm standing firm on.
Okay, you feel free to.
I will never give that position up. We'll tell you what we're talking about. There's one movie that this guy does that Martin just did. I'm trying to help him understand. And he just doesn't want to do. He wants to remain ignorant.
Are there arachnids in this movie?
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay, got it.
Oh, you weren't here for this movie. You didn't see it.
What, The Arrival?
Yeah, this one.
No, he's talking about the movie we fight over.
Yeah.
I saw that too.
But
because he made me watch it.
Exactly.
Watch this shit and tell him that he's wrong.
But this right here, this has to do with I guess what is her? She's a linguist.
Yes.
Amy Adams. She's a linguist.
She's a cunning linguist. You didn't give me my camera.
Oh, you don't deserve that camera right there. I saw it. He tried to pose too. I said,
She's a cunning linguist.
Yeah.
You might say she's a.
Shut the fuck up. My camera. He said, she sat there and posed. I said, no, I ain't giving you that shit. No, you don't deserve it. But the reason why I gave it to him, I was like, he's going to stay like this all night if I don't give it to him. Motherfucker just froze like a statue.
Hurry up, my blood's clotting.
Lay fall asleep and shit. Cunning linguist. But she's a cunning linguist. So cunning, Martin, that they actually think that when these aliens come down and they just park, they don't do nothing, they don't say nothing, they don't have no message.
Loitering.
Loitering, just parking. Parking like they parked in the middle of a fucking convenience store or something. And just stand there. But they did put out, some sounds. And they're like, well, you know what, this would be cool if we could figure out what the hell they're trying to talk about. And they said, well, you know what? And her name is Dr. Lewis Banks in the movie. They say, Dr. Banks, you are so good at this. If anybody can decipher what these aliens want, what their language means, it is you. And do this shit quick because if you don't, we're going to blow these motherfuckers out the sky. I don't give a damn, they're peaceful at night. And here's the thing about the film right here. Now, if you get one spaceship in a movie that comes down, that's cool because it usually means that they ran out of gas or they picking up a gift for the wife or something. They come down here to make friends with a little kid or something. That's all right.
Do a few probes and then go on.
Yeah. Oh, they stick a finger up an ass or two.
Yeah.
Do some research and then they gone. They try not to really bother nobody. But once you get about 2, 3, 100 spaceships, you fucked. They coming down to start. They coming down to start some shit. One came down. He brought his boys with him. And you know what? That's the thing with this film right here. It's a lot of spaceships, and everyone is nervous right now. And with this, you could say that's the problem. Everybody sees all these ships up there, and they're wondering: are they just standing around here just waiting to attack, What you know, people just confused. What the fuck do you want? Right? It's just one guy down the ground. What? But these aliens right here, they're like, you know, we're not like those assholes in Independence Day. We ain't coming down here trying to fuck with nobody. Imagine if the aliens from Independence Day did come down. They said, you know what, we just want to talk. That's it. You know,
we're just gonna stand here as long as we can and see what you do.
See what you do. You know, we're not like those assholes in Independence Day. We them college educated aliens. We just want to have a conversation, but we got that language barrier right there. And that's the thing with this film. It is very much a cross between Interstellar and Independence Day.
It's almost like they very purposely wanted to go like, all right, you know, Independence Day was stupid as fuck, right?
Yeah.
Because this is how this would really go down.
Exactly. And they trying to, they came up with an idea just to trick y'all, really. Like they made it look like it's an alien invasion movie, and some of y'all walking in think you're gonna get Independence Day, and little do you know, when you walk in, you're gonna get something that's a little more smart. You know, you're just a little more thoughtful. So if you're one of those people who, you know those people who always say, man, I go to a movie just to cut my brain off. I go to movies because I don't want to think.
Don't do that.
Well, you're gonna keep your dumb ass at home with this right here, because you're gonna be mad if you in this, because they're gonna have your ass thinking. In fact, you're gonna be mad at the screen. You're gonna be yelling. What, you think I'm fucking stupid? You know, like, yeah. If you gotta ask.
But you have to call me out on it though.
Yeah. And that's the thing about this director. Denis Villeneuve.
I think it's pronounced Denise.
Denis Villeneuve. He has directed almost every movie that he has directed has been a thinking person's movie in some kind of way. It's always had either some moral ambiguity in it, or he puts the movie on and says, and people walk like, what the fuck did that mean? He's like, hey man, you do the work. You know, that's you.
I'm throwing puzzle pieces on the ground and like, bye.
I know. It's up to you to figure it out.
I made the movie, man. Damn, what more do you want from me?
Answer.
Yeah. Do some shit on your own for a change. You stupid son of a bitch. And I like that. That's why he's one of my favorite directors. I like that this guy goes in and is making people actually think about films, that the stories in his films. He, you know, even when the story is put out there and you do have a resolution or you do understand what's happening, you're not really getting the full experience unless you watch it a couple of times.
Right.
You know, you might have to watch it 3 times, you know, and I like that. Now, Martin don't like that shit. Martin, that's the thing about it. You know, and I have to say that because it is divisive. Martin and I have always, we've put some movies behind us. I've forgiven you for Spider-Man 3. I don't mess with you about that. You have that, man. That's cool. But you make me mad with that shit with Enemy. Enemy right here with Jake Gyllenhaal. That's a movie where Martin and I cannot just, I don't bring it up around it because we're going to fight. I'm sorry this motherfucker made a movie right now because I don't even want to talk about it, but I have to. Because Martin saw that movie and he tells us, I can't even be in a room with you when you do that. And can you believe at the end of the movie, it's just this? And I was like, no, it's not just. There's a meaning behind this.
What's the meaning?
Well, I can't do that now. That'll be spoil.
Thank you so much.
That'll be spoiling it, and I don't have time. You know,
and
you had.
know.
I know, brother. I know. I've done my research.
It's whatever you want it to be.
Director called me and told me what it was. You know.
Okay.
Telling you, and the reason why I say that is because this movie is kind of a mix of that. It doesn't go as far as Enemy does. If you've ever seen Enemy, it's a movie that it really does not explain anything. You have to put the movie together yourself. This movie is sort of similar in a way where there's a lot of stuff that you don't catch until almost the end of the film. And even then, the movie has more of an impact if you want to go back and see it again and start putting the movie together, rearranging it, assembling it in a different way. Movies are kind of a puzzle that way. And I like that about it. At the same time, some people don't like that, and they think that it slows the movie down. Now, fortunately, for this particular film right here, it's something where I think the strength of the movie at the beginning is that it does move fast. I think they jump right into it. Aliens come down, they just park, people wondering what's going on. You get to see the aliens themselves pretty quickly. They don't try to do this whole thing where they keep them a mystery most of the time. The movie is in such of a rush that even your boy Forrest Whitaker, he ain't trying to mess around. He ain't got time to be playing. He comes right in and just goes to Amy Adams' house and just say, "Hey, girl, what the fuck these aliens talking about?"
Yeah. Can you help me or not? Because I'm gonna go.
Yeah, exactly. They talking about me? Decipher that shit.
I have something I need you to translate for me.
understand us? Where did you come from?
Now you heard it.
Are you
What do you
fucking
make of
kidding
it?
me?
What you say, Mark?
The way she looked at him.
Oh, yeah.
You just played some noise.
Oh, yeah.
Are you kidding me? I'm supposed to know what that says?
Now you heard it. What do you make of it?
She was like, yeah, what the fuck am I supposed to say? You know?
They said they like
Yeah.
Pizza Hut. Really? No, dumbass.
Yeah, you better use.
Oh, I heard it. It said.
Yeah, you better use Google Translate for this shit. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's what they said. Get the fuck out of my house. You better call Chewbacca for this shit. I don't know what the fuck they talking about. You know, I like that the movie moves fast when it comes to that. The movie moves very quickly, but it slows down once the aliens are introduced. I mean, it's something where when the aliens are introduced, the movie takes a very methodical approach to the linguistic side of the film, which is the main part of the story. I mean, in the film, they really are. It really does turn to something where it is a movie about talking. You know, it slows down. It's a movie about people trying to talk to each other, and half of it's in a language that you don't even understand. You know, half the other, you know, the aliens, they're trying to figure out what the aliens are saying, which sounds like a fucking whale playing a tuba, you know, and when the movie slows down right there, and it does, I mean, you know, yeah, you know, and it's a lot of deciphering, a lot of like going through and trying to figure out not only what their language is when it's spoken, but it's also what their language is when it's written down. They do have their way of writing in their own space font, if you will, and they spend a lot of the movie taking a very methodical approach, deciphering what this language could be in its written form.
Louise. I am Louise.
What is that? Is that a new symbol? I can't tell. Dr. Banks? Hey, what are you doing?
Gee, damn, this shit is hot.
Going to Prometheus.
Yeah.
You need to see me.
Taking off her head vent. Dr. Banks. Is she okay? You're risking contamination.
They need to see me.
Dr. Banks. She's walking toward the screen.
Now that's a proper introduction.
Be funny if there was that alien's penis up against the glass.
I was thinking butthole.
Yeah, asshole up there. She thinks that's my hand. Yeah, nice to meet you. When I watch this, I really do have to, because you're going to be reading about this. You're going to be reading about how great this is and how this has Martin's favorite phrase, 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. You know, they putting that out there in the reviews. Everybody's talking about how this movie's so awesome. And you know what? It depends on who you are, if you ask me. I mean, if you're a person who really does want a fast-paced, traditional blockbuster kind of
Keep on walking.
Blockbuster kind of a sci-fi movie. You want an alien attack film. This is not going to be your thing right here. I mean, everything. When I say this has a methodical approach, I'm talking about with everything that it does. They spend time studying this language. It's almost like being in a class. I'm not saying that that's right or wrong. Some people find that fascinating, and it is fascinating. But some people, they're not going and expecting that, and they're not going to get that. Even the score itself is very minimal. And there's points where they're studying something, and the score is just one person, some girl going, na, 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 na,
Yeah.
na, 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 na. Even one person in the movie, like, look at the mosquitoes. You know, it's like, it's annoying. I mean, to some people, it could be. To me, I didn't mind it too much, you know, but not everybody's me. And I realized that, you know, with this director, like I say, he's a very divisive director. I will say, though, that even with the performances, I enjoyed the performances a lot. But even those are very somber. Even those are very low key. I appreciate performances when they are that way. This is something where, you know, people do it, and I think it's more powerful. I think it's especially with the emotional story that that Amy Adams has in the movie. In the movie, she lost her daughter Hannah. It opens up with the daughter dying of, I think, cancer or something. But they get that out the way quick. She cries, has a moment, and the rest of the movie kind of just leaves the dramatics out of it. It's a very low key type film. Now, that's not to say that it doesn't have its moments of humor or anything like that, because I think that with these characters, there are moments where Amy Adams and Forrest Whitaker, who I think are both great in the movie, especially Amy Adams, nothing she'll get an Oscar for because it's so, low drama, but her and Forrest Whitaker, they got some great exchanges in the film. And that's where your points of humor come from. It's not a lot of humor in the movie, but when they do have something that is humorous, it feels real because it feels like two people just kind of talking.
Everything you're doing there, I have to explain to a room full of men whose first and last question is, how can this be used against us?
Kangaroo.
What the fuck you say to me?
What is that?
In 1770, Captain James Cook's ship ran aground off the coast of Australia, and he led a party into the country, and they met the Aboriginal people. One of the sailors pointed at the animals that hop around and put their babies in their pouch, and he asked what they were, and the Aborigine said, kangaroo. It wasn't until later that they learned that kangaroo means, I don't understand.
I can sell that for now.
Fair.
And remember what happened to the Aborigines? A more advanced race nearly wiped them out.
Why you want to talk some shit?
Right. I was like,
Yeah.
Just got into that kangaroo story. Like, what does that have to do with what I just said?
Yeah, bitch thought you had the last word, didn't you?
Kangaroos, though. Kangaroo. Go away, man. Use that from now on. Somebody saying something to me, I say, but kangaroo.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Just think about it. And
Curse
walk
you with
off.
my one eye. Like I said, this is a movie where everything about it is somber. Even the cinematography in this movie, like this, the director has a look. This director, like I said, he doesn't like to shoot something unless it's some overcast in the sky, or he likes to shoot someplace with smog, or there's a dust storm going on. Everything is kind of everything is muted except for bits of color here and there. When I watch this, it's a different cinematographer than he had in the last
Roger
movie.
Deakins and
No.
Sicario?
Roger Deakins is the one that did Skyfall, and he did Sicario.
Right.
And if you watch Sicario, if you watch any of this guy's movies, like I said, if you watch any of his films, you'll see that they all have a certain look. That's how visual this director is. Bradford Young is the cinematographer that he has here, but this director definitely has a vision, has a trademark, has a style that he likes to keep to. And it's no different from this movie either. But at the same time, it's a movie. We always like to look at cinematography and certain things in films, and we like to say, "Oh, that looks too sterile. That looks too clean." But this movie, I don't know if the contrast is cut up on this or not, but it's a sharp looking film. I mean, for all the colors that are muted, it's a real sharp looking movie. And I think with this film right here and this director, that's what I like about him. Everything has the consistent tone, and everything fits together. Mm-hmm. I really like that about him. What you guys got to say about this?
One of the biggest things that I'd like to comment on that you said was that the tone was kind of muted and everything like that. But I thought that kind of added to the situation, because I feel like with this director, he does a really great job of always putting you in the position of that newcomer, like as Emily Blunt was in Sicario, or Amy Adams was in this. Like you're going in viewing everything from her perspective, and everything is so grandiose. And I just feel like with this movie, it was really engrossing. That's like one of the best things I could say about it. Even with the certain designs, like with the aliens, you didn't get to see a good chunk of them for majority of the movie, but it's something where you're like, wow, I want to know more. Everything in this movie that you see, it makes you want to know a little bit more about it, whether it be the language or Amy Adams' life, or why the aliens are there, or what the military is going to do. So I thought that was something they did really well in this. And then like you said, Amy Adams and I think even Jeremy Renner too had a great chemistry with each other.
Yeah, Jeremy Renner is he
brings a lot of the humor.
He does. He definitely brings a lot of the more lighthearted parts to the film. I wasn't trying to actually count him out in the movie. He's not only lighthearted, but they hint at certain things. Again, this is not a movie where they have elements of a lot of films in there. You got the romantic subplot that's happening, but they don't play it up. Again, it plays like real people who have a real relationship forming, especially with somebody like Jeremy Renner and Amy Adams' relationship in the movie. Martin, what you think?
I am kind of like what you hinted at. I'm of two minds on this movie because on one hand, I can't help but praise a science fiction movie that's about science fiction, that's actually smart.
Yeah.
And it's not trying to rush. There's no gun battles or anything. I mean, there's one explosion and it's very downplayed, the whole thing. And they really walk you through it like you are there. And this is it's based on a short story by this kind of this prestigious writer, I think it's Ted Chiang, and he wrote this 20 years ago. And he's one of these guys who he only writes short stories. He's only written like 15, but he wins awards every time he writes one. And so it has a great foundation to it. And there's so much about it that I like everything that you guys brought up. On the flip side, there is that somberness it's after halfway through the film, it's a bit oppressive. And especially like there's a point where you've seen the aliens, you've seen the setup, and acting wise, it's really all Amy Adams. I mean, Forrest Whitaker and Jeremy Renner, as much as their characters are important, they have bit roles.
Yeah.
in this,
Yeah.
It's all her. But there's a point in it when it's just her and the aliens doing the language, and yeah, it's like you're in school and you're just like letting them go through it. And because it's such an alien language, it's not like you're figuring it out along with them. You're watching them, and they're just telling you, like, okay, now we've achieved this step, and now we've achieved this step. And it was one of these things where I was like, man, I was pumped, and now you guys are kind of wearing me down. All right. But it ends very strong. I mean, it has one of those endings that makes you go, oh, well, now I got to go rewatch this again.
See, the ending is what I didn't like. And
really?
I'm not saying that I hated it. I'm not saying it's bad. But y'all know me, and my big thing with aliens is when they come down here. I hate that whole thing, that shortcut of, the aliens to talk to you. Yeah, I got Freddy Krueger people. I'm in your dreams. Or I can feel what they're saying just by touching them or this glass. They do that in this movie more clever than they do in other films.
Yeah, you missed something if you feel that way about it.
And I can't say it.
Okay.
I did catch it, but what I'm saying is, for as clever as this movie was, they did one thing right here, and I can't say what it is. They did just one thing, and I was like, okay, you've hit the point, because that's what they do it in movies. Like, man, we don't have time to think all this shit out. And they had that one point was like, well, we thought this out, but still, it's kind of a simple thing, and we just need to get on out of here.
There's like one big lingering question that I had about this movie, and I'm not gonna say it because it will kind of spoil some stuff, but I was like, well, why would you go about it this way when you only needed to do this?
Yes.
So
that was I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know exactly. In fact, this whole thing that the aliens did, I'm like, man, y'all going about this though hard.
I know.
I know. Y'all came down here and did all this shit for that.
You mastered interstellar travel, but you can't impart to us this one simple idea.
Yeah, exactly. Y'all learn how to travel light years just to come to Earth and park.
Illegally.
Yeah. So that's like me driving all the way to fucking China and then just saying, I'm just gonna park in the parking lot right here. Just
sounds like a plan.
Yeah, and I like I said, I wish we could tell y'all what it is. The other thing about the ending is that for all the great effects they have in here, because when they show the aliens look cool to me. This director has a thing for spiders, and he has a very spider-like.
shit.
He has a very spider-like. Like if you saw Enemy, his whole thing is a spider theme going throughout the whole movie. Here, the aliens, they look like if a spider and an elephant fucked and had a kid, man.
He must have saw Wild Wild West when he was young.
Yeah, he has this thing for spiders, man. And this is and the aliens look cool. And I like that they don't show you what the aliens look like completely. They keep them shrouded in fog. They keep them mysterious because they're like, hey, man, this shit ain't about aliens. We smart, we ain't. It's not about the special effects. We're better than that. But and it works. They don't want to take away from the story. However, for all these great special effects that they have, for everything that feels so natural and so real, there's a point where Amy Adams goes into some kind of state. She starts seeing these aliens on their own terms, and that shit turns into some of the worst green screen.
Oh my God!
Did you see that shit?
Her hair. Her hair was so bad.
Yeah, you saw that, right?
Yeah, dude.
I was like, man, y'all really did run out of some money at this part right here. Y'all just had to hurry up and get it done, because it's one thing to have like kind of shoddy special effects to a movie that's consistent, but when you bring some real shit and you show you got some money, and then all of a sudden you look like Access Television with one part of it.
Yeah, especially when everything looks so great leading up to that. So, all right, keep everything consistent. But when you get to that, you're like, ooh, no.
Maybe that was a reshoot shoot or something.
Yeah, whatever it was, man. It looked
Jesus.
bad. It looked bad. It's on the big screen for you to see. Seriously,
Yeah.
you can see the halos around every piece of hair on our head.
It's like somebody taking a shit in in your car, in your Lamborghini. It's like, that's a really nice car, but somebody shit on the dashboard. Like, I don't know why that's there. That's gonna draw your attention to it.
But the car's so nice, you're not gonna see it.
But their shit smells like shit.
No. Notice the rest of the car, man. It's nice. It's nice, right?
Check out the horsepower.
But this shit, no.
Stick a little Jesus on it and keep it moving.
Bose stereo.
A crown over that shit. Dangling from the rear view. But yeah, Forrest Whitaker in the movie, I just love the guy. He plays a colonel in the film, and he has real authority when he comes on the screen. That's one of the things that Martin does make a good point about. That now a lot of these people are on the screen for a long time, but they make a big impact. Amy Adams left a big emotional impact for him in this movie. And, I think that overall, besides my complaints, I had to think about this hard, too, because I had to think, dude, what do I do? Because I don't know if I don't want to look stupid because I'm looking.
You saw the 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, and you're like,
Tomatoes got me confused.
I know. If I don't give it a full price, then I'm gonna look like I'm stupid.
Will my peers look down on me?
This is your inherent
on
bias.
this motion picture? But no, it's not. Take that out of it. I admire the movie for the intelligence. I admire the movie for the script. I mean, this is like Martin said. This is a real thinking person science fiction movie that introduces some real hard-ass science in here. Even if the science is not real, it feels so real. The approach that you see here, and I like the approach that they take into certain things. This movie's got some real integrity. Even when they have so-called action scenes, they take their time.
Yeah.
They don't rush to do anything. They got explosions in here. They got chases, but it might as well. What's that?
Riots.
They got riots, but it might as well be directed by a sloth because that shit just takes its time.
We gotta chase her down.
Yeah. There's an explosion. That explosion's like bang,
Pow.
Yeah, it's like a rose blossoming.
yeah. That explosion is high as hell. Kaboom. It's there's a lot of things this movie takes its time with, and I really appreciate that. But at the same time, enjoying the integrity of this movie, enjoying the story and how intricate it is, it does have, to me, some pacing problems. And I think a lot of people want to look past that because they do appreciate how smart this movie is. So I'm kind of caught between giving this a very high matinee and a full price because I gotta admit I was bored a little bit in some parts of it, but then I'm scared people gonna say, "Well, you're bored because you're just stupid," and I don't want that.
Vote with your heart.
Let me say it.
What?
Let me say it.
Oh, wait, no, hell no, no. You know what? Fuck it. I'm giving a full price. I ain't dumb. I got it.
Dumb for giving it a full right now. You're right, man. One of the things, and this is something I guess we kind of differ on with the somber, slow pace of it. I really like that. It wasn't to the point where it was a slow burn and it left you confused. It was the point where it's like, all right, you're giving me time to digest something before we hop on to the next thing, and that's something I really enjoyed about it. I feel like this director found his happy medium between Sicario and Enemies, where Enemies is like, this is like, what are you thinking about? What's going on? You put it together. And Sicario, everything is just laid out. So with this, you get the action scenes, you get the beautiful cinematography, you get the great acting, but you also get that slow mystery of what's going on, and it slowly unravels for you. And then you do get to that ending, and you're like, all right, now I got to kind of go back and watch this and look out for certain things. Like, oh, okay, that's dope. So with this, man, I have no qualms giving this a full price. I thought it was great.
Okay, man. Here we go. Martin, what you think, man?
Korey, I agree with you.
Okay.
Almost 100%.
Oh, really?
With almost everything you said.
Didn't we kind of say the same thing, though? You and me?
Sure.
But with what you talk about with the pacing problems.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things where everything works so well, you could see why people want to gloss past that. But I'm like, you can't really. Not if you're going to be true to giving it a rating and thinking about an audience going to see it, you can't just blow that part off.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, like when you get to the end, you go like, oh wow, this is a deeper movie than I thought it was. At the same time, it ain't so deep. It's just like it's deep within its own realm, but it doesn't make you think all that much more about life, just more about within itself.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like it's a really good episode of Black Mirror.
You think so?
Yes.
I was thinking like a Twilight Zone or Outer Limits thing, really.
What's the difference?
Well, Black Mirror is more about technology and the current technology that we have, especially when it comes to social media and cell phones and things.
You know
like
what?
that.
I chose Black Mirror because it's more contemporary, but
Current,
sure,
yeah.
but sure, but Twilight Zone, if you will.
Outer Limits. Take that.
Man, nobody's seen it like 15 years.
I'm smart. I've seen those things.
And as such, it could have wrapped itself up sooner than it it does.
Yeah, I agree.
And I want to watch it again just to piece back together the revelation. But outside of that, I'm in that same where you were, the low full price or the high matinee, and I'm kind of going with a high matinee.
Okay, you mean low full price? No, I'm kidding.
I'm surprised y'all didn't dig the score, man. I thought that was great.
I did like it.
Yeah, the score was amazing.
I liked it. I'm just saying some people not gonna like that.
It was a little off right there, but the tones, it really had, to me, it kind of felt like watching Aliens again for the first time. Like it played in the background. It's not too oppressive, but it's still there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't say. Look, I like a lot of things. I gave the movie a full price. I'm talking about you dumb motherfuckers out there. That's what I'm saying. I mean, not you, Martin.
Hey, I understood it.
I got it too. Not really. But I still give it a full price so I can look smart. I got it.
Smart.
Smooth. In fact, I'm giving it better than sex. I'm a genius.
Yeah, a lot of people been naming this their movie of the year.
Yeah, I've been keep hearing from people how it's their movie of the year, and this has really been that year for me where people come back and say, "Man, it's the best movie of the year," and then I'm like,
yeah. I'm not that smart. I don't see that. Not yet, at least.
Well, the thing, all those people that were saying that was their movie of the year, they all saw it at like South by or Fantastic Fest. So they probably were high off their own supply.
Yeah, exactly. Had what they call them festival goggles on. Yeah.